Hi everyone, happy Monday. So many updates to go over. So before I get started, as always, once I post a video, I will be live for about the first 15 to 20 minutes of the video being posted, answering any questions that you guys might have in real time. So I'd love to hear from you guys after I post. And then again, if you like this channel, please be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers so that I can get access to YouTube stories and share more of my Turo day-to-day life. And on a final note, I do have a new Instagram account. It's called Saimah's Experience, so please do follow me on there. A lot of you follow me on my personal, which is fine too, but on the Saimah's Experience, I will be posting all Turo related content and anything that I'm doing throughout the day, updates and so on and so forth, and info about videos that are upcoming. And on that note, give me 1 second. There's something beeping right there. Let me go figure out what it is. Okay, we're back. So today's video is going to be on what to do if you find yourself in a situation to where you can't make your car payment on a car that is financed because of what is going on, and you really depend on that Turo revenue if you purchase your cars for the purpose of being on this platform and creating this income, but because we might see a complete slowdown in the bookings that we're getting. If you find yourself in trouble, I'm going to guide you guys on what to do to handle those car payments. But before I get started on that, I want to revisit real quick the video that I made about the Airbnb restricting bookings yesterday. So thank you to everybody who tagged me in the link for, I believe it was called Airbnb Automated. That was great information. It looks like Airbnb is at least trying to figure out how they can help support their hosts. They had a little snags along the way in terms of some new rules that they implemented with guests that are 25 and under, which restricted them from booking actual stays on the platform and instead redirected them to booking hotels through Airbnb, which is through their Hotel Tonight avenue that they have. So hosts were pretty upset with that redirection, especially in a climate where bookings are already struggling and we're seeing such a dramatic fall off of bookings, and we'll likely continue to see that in the upcoming weeks. Now, one really great learning lesson, and I will link that video in my description down below if you guys want some more details as to what went on with Airbnb. But one thing that I kind of took away from that was the Airbnb community on YouTube and on social media really spoke up about what was going on and what their take and perspective was on it and how they thought that Airbnb should have handled it. And it really did make an impact. It did, definitely push their CEO to put out a statement, kind of reassure their host community that they are working on a solution to help support their host in this very ominous climate that we're in that no one could have really anticipated for. Now, what Airbnb did do for its host in China when all this happened over there a couple months ago is that they did put together a $10 million fund to kind of help the hosts that were going to be struggling there. So now I know that Airbnb hosts are also hoping to see similarly support in Europe and in the USA. Now, with all that said, I mentioned this yesterday as well, I am really surprised in some ways that we haven't really heard anything from Turo's leadership in regards to what efforts they're working on. Is there going to be any support for their host community? How they might be helping their hosts who do rely on this Turo income to make their car payments, and just what it means for their hosts and for the future. And I think that disconnect has always been present, in my opinion at least, and you guys can tell me if you guys can please chime in and let me know if you guys think the same or if I'm the only one that thinks this. But I feel like there always has been a disconnect between Turo's leadership and their host community. It's never really felt like a close relationship. It's never really felt like it's been in tune and in sync with each other, which is, it's kind of a bummer because as hosts, you want to do your best. You want to provide a great experience, a great product, and just tons of value for your renters so that we can all build this marketplace and obviously have it be really lucrative for us in terms of revenue. So yeah, again, I think Hopefully we will hear something from them. But again, like I was saying, most companies have already put out statements. They've already put out at least offerings like, hey, call us if you're having issues because of what's going on. We're here to assist. So yeah, just a little surprised and a little worrisome that we haven't heard anything just yet from the leadership at Turo. So hopefully we hear something soon. But in the meantime, nonetheless, we must remain proactive, we must remain vigilant, and take the steps necessary for us to make sure that we stay on top of things and that we continue to push our business as much as possible. And of course, throughout all of this, I will be sharing my strategies, my pricing strategies. Right after this video, I'm going to be posting my listing management video so you guys can see how I'm altering my listings to continue to bring in sales to the best of our abilities given what we're facing right now. Okay, so on that note, let's talk about car payments. And what I did was I actually took a moment and I got in touch with all the banks that I work with, any banks that I've ever financed through. I gave them a call just to kind of find out how this works. Now, this really does apply to anybody who has financed a vehicle. Unfortunately, if you've leased a vehicle, there is not really a way to put off a payment other than just being late. However, given the circumstances that we're in, because it's such an extenuating circumstance, I would highly recommend that if you are experiencing any issues or you can foresee that you might have trouble making a payment, you want to call into them because you never know what they might be offering given what we're going through. And I think a lot of companies are working on solutions that may otherwise would have not been present given any other time. But this is, if you have a finance vehicle, you do have options out there. So what it's called, if you can't make a payment, you can do something that's called deferment of a payment. And basically what that means is that you can take the car payment that's due or is coming up and you can push it to the back of your loan. And it doesn't work against you, doesn't work against your credit, nothing really reports, and it just gives you a little bit of space to not fall behind and to get that or make your following payment after that. But every bank, from my understanding and sort of doing my research, does it a little differently. So it's going to vary based on your financing bank. And now I'm going to give you guys some examples of the banks that I called. So one of the easiest banks that I came across was Bmw Financials. So if you have anything financed with them, super easy, simple process. Now for Bmw Financial, it seems like across the board, what they allow you to do is defer 2 payments within a year. And what you can do is you can either defer 1 payment and then save your second one and do it later, or you can do 2 deferments all at once. So meaning if we're in March right now and you have a March payment coming up, if you want to defer March and April, you can most likely do that and push both of those payments to the back of the loan. And their process is very quick and easy. Literally, while you're on the phone, they'll email you some paperwork. You have to digitally sign it, send it back, and boom, it's done. So they have a very simple solution. Now, this could vary based on the term of your loan. It could be maybe not as many deferments or more deferments. It can vary based on those factors. So it's something that you have to call in and find out about. Another bank that I checked in with was TD Ameritrade. They also do deferments. They do 1 deferment in every 12 payments. So they don't go by the calendar year. They just go by 1 payment after every 12 payments that you make over the course of the loan. So if you have a 5-year loan, you can technically do it 5 times. Now, something to note when you do deferred payments, that interest does build up, but something that you can do to counteract any of that interest and to avoid a much larger payment at the end of your loan is just pay a little bit extra every single month. And then of course, when things do rebound and get back to normal, I mean, there's no prepayment penalties, right? So you can just go ahead and make an extra payment and get that taken care of and get yourself caught up again. Some other banks, I've noticed that credit unions are a little bit more difficult. They don't quite have a streamlined process set in place, and they all work a little differently. So you just kind of have to call in. Some banks will ask you to send in a letter, let them know what's going on or why you're facing hardships so that they can get it approved. Another bank that I called into was Fifth Third Bank. They're a big bank that finances vehicles like this Polaris or the Vanderhall, and they also had an interesting setup where they send you some paperwork and you have to, or they mail it to you and you have to sign it and mail it back to them, and the signature has to be done in ink. So everyone has sort of these little quirks to them. So you just need to really call into your bank. It's usually a pretty easy process, and find out what your options are and just have that in your back pocket in case you need it. It's much better to defer a payment than to have a late payment show up on your credit report. You just don't want to take that ding. And then, like I said, this works in specifically for vehicles that are financed, and my guess is it's only the people out there who have vehicles that are financed, such as myself, that would need to exercise an option like this. And if you have leases, unfortunately, this is not an option that works on leases. But like I said, given what is happening right now, I think that these banks and loan companies are really they're open to working with their customers given what's going on. So you just want to call in and find out what it is that you can do in case it gets down to that point. So that's a really useful tool. I would hate to see anyone in this community have to go through late payments and just getting into a position that is dark and that nobody really wants to be in, and especially based on something that no one could have anticipated. But nonetheless, you want to remain proactive and really take these options into consideration. So that's one thing you can do if you don't know how you're going to make your next car payment. Please call in as soon as possible and just get it squared away. And then other than that, like I mentioned, as we kind of navigate through what I anticipate to be the next 2 to 6 weeks, and I think even when we come out of it, it might be a slow roll to getting back to where we were. But good news is 2 to 6 weeks, maybe even 2 months from now, we're getting closer into the summer months, so that when we do hopefully get back into the groove of things, we will be in a very high season, which will hopefully help offset any of the losses that we take during this current period of time. And so stay tuned on my videos, because like I said, I will be posting real-time updates, any sort of breaking news going on that might impact us as hosts in the Turo community. And then I will be showing you guys what my listing strategies are as we go into this really weird, awkward time where bookings are almost coming to a halt, just like the stock market is, and what we can do to provide value to any renters that are out there. I think that there is still a market out there that needs to be served, however small it might be. We want to serve them, we want to give them value, and we want to make them feel comfortable. One of the things that I had also suggested early on this week under my community post was switching any vehicles that are eligible to Turo Go, put them on the platform. I just switched over. Before, I only had one BMW on the platform, and I haven't been the biggest fan of it, but in this climate, I think Turo Go is a great thing. If you've noticed in the news, they've talked about DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, all of these people sort of switching to contactless delivery, which is great, right? Because it makes people feel comfortable, like, okay, hey, I can still order out and get food, but I don't really have to have contact with anyone. So Turo Go will allow you to do that same exact thing, and then that is something that you can advertise on your listing as well, so people can take comfort in that they don't necessarily have to meet anyone face to face or shake hands. And if anyone is being really cautious about this social distancing, then that's a great way to do it. And again, a great way to offer value. So this is something that I've already done with all my cars. But other than that, that is it in terms of what to do if you find yourself in a position to where you can't make your car payment. Other than that, please do leave me your guys' feedback. Let me know what you guys have been experiencing in this last week. What are your bookings looking like, other than the obvious of the cancellations that we're all experiencing? Are you seeing a new flow of bookings coming in? If so, how strong are they? And then let me know, what do you guys think about the relationship between Turo Host and Turo's leadership? What should we expect? What should we see going forward? Let's chime in and definitely build up this community, because as the Airbnb example was given, if we build up this community, we really can have an impact as to the direction in which things head. All right, guys, on that note, that is it for me for now. I will be posting my listing strategy for today, which is Monday the 16th. So tune into that as well. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks again. My name is Saimah, the Saimah's Experience, and do subscribe if you get a chance. Bye, guys.